What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the FansToys Jabber, their version of Blurr. This came out just recently. My buddy Pake has already put up his review. It's a pretty good review. Go ahead and watch that. I'll put a link in the description below. But I wanted to kind of cover my own thoughts and opinions on this figure. We do have, again, the very nice artwork from Iohannes. He goes by Wheljack, Wheljack, on DeviantArt, so you can take a look at his work, which includes this and several other pieces for FansToys. But you've got the nice artwork there. Nothing really on the side. On the back, you've got the product images. It does have a different color blue here than what the figure is. It looks like it's a little less metallic. I don't mind the color issue. That's been kind of a concern for some people. But you do have also some product images with some other FansToys stuff. And we will show off Jabber with his counterparts here from the movie. Here you have the vehicle mode. That looks really nice. On the bottom, you just got images of the vehicle. So that's really it for the box. Let's get the figure out here and take a look at it. As always, you do get a instruction booklet here. It has quite a bit of detail, colors and arrows and stuff. It's still pretty tough to understand. There's some steps where it's a little bit confusing. It's any written manual is never going to be that good, but it does show you the transformation. It shows you the transformation for the Target Master, and then how to put the actual weapon storage in. So you can store the things on the actual vehicle mode. And then finally, how to change out the face. And that's really it for that. You also get a collector's card. I've always liked the FansToys collector's card. You got the tech specs in the back, and then the image of the render on the front. Looks good. And here we have Jabber out of his box, and he looks really good out of the packaging. The color I was talking about earlier is this metallic blue. It does look a little bit different than the box. It's a little bit more purple than blue. On my camera, I'm not sure how it's going to show up. In person, looking at it, it looks a little more purple than blue. But I still like the color. I don't have any issue with it. I think it's fine. Now let's take a quick 360 of the robot mode. It is a very nice looking robot mode. It's just really well sculpted, very clean. You know, there's not a lot on the back. You got this little thing, which I believe is cartoon accurate, and that looks nice. Pretty clean legs. There's a little bit of kibble here, but that's kind of where all the stuff goes. That's why this transformation is so complex. It just compacts down into his arms and legs. But there you have it, 360. We do have the painted windshield here. There's also a clear windshield that you can replace it with. We'll take a look at that a little bit later. But all in all, pretty good looking bot mode from all angles. I think they did a great job on the sculpt with this. Now let's take a look at the head. So here's the head sculpt. It looks pretty good. I don't know, there's something about the eyes, maybe a little too big, but overall pretty good head sculpt. I like that they did this little jewel in the middle there, that little translucent piece of yellow plastic. There's not a lot of detail. He's a very clean bot, and you know, it depends on what kind of aesthetic you like, but he doesn't have a lot of like little accents and details, and I've come to kind of enjoy that from FansToys, having the little details and stuff, like for example a little bit yellow or some color breakup here. There's not a lot of that this time. He's pretty clean all around. You do have a little bit of detail here, but for the most part, very flat and not a lot of extra paint on him, except for the head maybe. But I do like the head sculpt. I think that looks really good. The fin is nice and long, and it doesn't feel like it's going to break. This one, it does get out of the way, but it doesn't feel that sturdy. It's okay. But as far as the bot, it's pretty nice and hefty, and it feels solid. It feels like a FansToys figure to me, just in terms of the weight, the heftiness, the die cast kind of in the legs. There's quite a bit of die cast. Let's talk about that for a second. So definitely on the legs, you've got some die cast in here. These knees, you got die cast in the feet. I believe you got a whole bunch of die cast inside, internals, you know, a lot of the hardware. And possibly here too, all of this. die cast, so you got quite a bit of weight and heft on this guy. So it feels really good in hand, and it's got some good balance to it. He does have articulation, so let's go over that. The head is on a ball joint, so you get all the way up to there, which is plenty, down to there. And he does rotate all the way around, so, and you get the side to side. So all the movement you would want. I'm glad they didn't put it down close to his chest, otherwise it would have been hard to move his head. The shoulders rotate all the way around. And mine are pretty tight. They hold pretty well. I know Paik, when he did his review, these were really loose and it wouldn't even hold the gun. Mine holds the gun just fine. I don't have any issue with that. We'll take a look at the guns in just a second. You do have double jointed elbows, which is beautiful. It basically bends all the way. You can't bend any more than that. You have a rotation at the elbow, so you can get that all the way around. And that helps you with the rifle if you wanted to double, basically had both hands holding the rifle, which is nice. You can detach this, and this does rotate all the way up to there, and then you can move the legs. The legs rotate all the way up to there on a ratchet. They go back to here. You can also move this out of the way and get it all the way back to there. And then out to the side on a friction joint. So plenty of movement there. I forgot to talk about this. You can have it down like this, which I believe is cartoon accurate, but I prefer to have it like that. If you don't like that, you could fold it up even more and have it all the way up to there. You can kind of do whatever you want. My preferred look is like this. But you can also do this if you like that look too. And I like that they give you those options. You're not stuck with one look. So continuing down the figure, you have a rotation at the thigh here. It does break the sculpt a little bit. Oops. Put these back in. Now it does break the sculpt a little bit right here, but it's okay. I don't have too big of an issue. I don't know why they put this. Maybe that's for transformation, but I don't like that little line. I wish they had just left it flat. And these do tend to kind of move around on you. And if you just push them out, they're okay. They stay, but they're a little bit, I don't really like the mechanism there, but it works fine. Let me just pick this back in. You do get a double jointed knee all the way up to there. The full range of motion, which is very nice. Nice smooth friction joint there for the knee. I forgot about this here. You do get a ratcheted waist swivel. You do not get any ab crunch. You don't really need it. You can kind of get him to bend over using the hips, but spoiler did have a unlocking ab crunch. This one does not. Continuing down, you do have a small amount of ankle rocker. I wish it was a little bit more. It's okay. You get plenty of tilt here. It's not really what I want. I prefer this because when you get wide stances, these feet you can't really get them to sit flat. But you can move these independently, and this is die cast, and it looks good. It's just I wish it would go a little bit more. They limited themselves by having this so tight in there. They didn't really need to have it that tight. And that's really it for articulation. Let's take a look at his guns. So there he is with his rifle, and he can hold it with both hands because you've got that elbow swivel there, and that looks really good. I love this gun. It does fold up. There's a little bit of paint detail right here. You get a little bit of black there. That looks good. As always, their guns are very good, and they fit in well, and they look nice. So no issue there. Let's take a look at the other gun. Here he is with his other gun. It's got almost like a clip there. It looks really nice. It's a good looking gun. I wish they had a little bit of paint detail on there, but these guns don't sit very securely. You're not shaking your fingers, but they tend to be a little bit loose. Normally, FansToys is really good about the fitment on their weapons, and these are just a tiny bit loose, tiny bit looser than I want it to be, but not an issue. The hands hold it just fine. So there he is with those guns. So let's take a look at the Target Master. It's not great, so I kind of was not wanting to transform this, but it's very it's weird. It just doesn't not built well. I don't know if it's the paint or the plastic they use, but the leg tends to pop off very easily, especially when you're transforming or bending the knee. This knee is very tight, so as you're doing this and manipulating it, it just kind of comes apart. And it's a nice little figure. Right? It's got a lot of articulation. And it's just like all the other Tiger Masters, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it's got articulation everywhere. It's good. All right, so the first thing you want to do is fold up the arms, and they fold back like this. They do look like they tab together, but it doesn't seem to be part of the transformation, so I don't know what they were going for there. Anyway, and this is part of the problem. Things come apart as you're folding and manipulating, so you just got to be careful. Okay, next thing is you can close this up so the head goes inside and then fold the gun down. And now the legs are really annoying because they fall off, but turn them around 180 degrees and this one pops off. So while we have it popped off, we'll just get it folded properly. So we need it like that. Same on this side. Fold it so it goes 90 degrees. And then just stick this leg back on. And they do tab together here, so you're going to want to get them tabbed. And because the leg keeps popping off, it's very irritating, but you can do it. And it does kind of sit in this little groove here. It's not the best, but it's supposed to sit in that groove. Anyway, there's your target. Oh, fold, and then fold down this handle. There's your Target Master. It's dumb as all the Target Masters are. It's not really good looking. And you can put that in his hand, but I have no need for this. It's a very irritating figure because it constantly is falling apart. He can hold it. Hopefully that was all off camera. He can hold the Target Master just fine. It's not a good looking gun, and I have no need for this. So that's really it for the Target Master. Here's with his alternate face. You've got the sort of yelling face there. It looks okay. I probably won't be using this face. I'll probably keep this one because it's got better contour. But you do have this option, and it's nice that they give you that option. I do like the paint they use for the eye. To get this off, you basically just lift up the head. This neck piece is tabs in to right here. I just wanted to give you a little heads up. It's very tight when you first get the figure, and it's very hard to get the tab in, so you kind of have to push pretty hard. But you can pull the face off right there. So that's how you get the face off. If you want to put it in, you really got to just press down. Now that it's pushed in, it tends to go in more easily, but before you do that the first time, it's pretty hard to get in there. So here he is with the alternate chest piece, the transparent clear piece, and it does look nice. I definitely prefer this one, but you can put this one in there, and it's kind of a pain to get in there. You got to take the whole backpack apart, and there's 2 screws in there. Little screws like this. I haven't put them back in because I'm a little worried about this transparent plastic and whether it will hold up to putting the screws in. Also, I'm not going to keep them. So I just wanted to show you what it looked like, but it is kind of a pain. It's sort of the juice isn't really worth the squeeze there to get these in here. But it's nice that they give you the option and you give the alternate look. And it does really, give you a different feel for the figure, kind of more of a realistic vehicle. Probably this makes more sense in the actual vehicle mode versus the robot mode. But here it is. Just wanted to show that to you so you could see what it looked like. And here's Jabber with his other FansToys movie masterpiece figures. If you're triggered by this much FansToys, I'm sorry, but I tend to like the aesthetic of FansToys, so I have a lot of FansToys. To be fair, there aren't a lot of good cups out there. There is a good Springer. You got the MMC. Instead of Rouge, you could get the MMC as well. There's also the Unique Toys, which I don't have the Unique Toys Blurr version of Blurr. This is Takara. So pretty much this whole front row is FansToys. I just happen to prefer their aesthetic for the movie figures, but Alright guys, we have transformed into vehicle mode. I'm sorry I don't have the footage for transformation. This thing is a nightmare to transform. And it actually sustains damage when you transform it. And it really has to do with the sides here. The sides are very challenging to get locked in. And as you're doing it, there's no clear and crisp way to do it without putting stress on the plastic. And as I was doing it, I definitely saw stress on the plastic. I didn't want to redo the transformation. Normally what I do is I transform it and then I do it again on video for you to see. But unfortunately, I'm not willing to just toss this figure basically I don't want to break it. So this is what you're going to get. I'm going to link T-Man's video in the description below. He has done the transformation and he did a pretty good job with it. So, and we're buddies. We've been talking about this pretty figure. Pake also did this. Pake for Like. He also did this review and he also did the transformation. So either of those guys have a really good transformation, but I am not going to do it. It's just too much and it's not really worth my time. But here is the vehicle mode, and it is actually a pretty nice vehicle mode. It really is beautiful. It definitely reminds me of the G1 cartoon. In fact, we probably should take a look at the G1 cartoon to see how it measures up. I think it's pretty accurate. Now, I don't have the Unique Toys one, so I can't really say whether that one's better or worse. I just don't know. But I like the look of this in vehicle mode. Just getting in here is just such a nightmare that I'm probably never going to do it again. This is the last time I'm going to transform it. In robot mode, it looks great, and I'll probably leave it that way. But just looking at the detail, there is a cockpit here with some detail in there, which is nice. It's not painted, but it's sculpted there. This does articulate. It probably looks best straight back. But it's good that they did that because they probably would have broke during transformation just because you're moving stuff all around. But by far the most challenging thing is these two side pieces. Trying to get this whole thing aligned and centered is just a nightmare. But it does look really good. You got the painted boosters here. You got the silver paint. You got the painted cockpit here. Now you could put in the clear piece, but I'm going to leave it this way just because it looks more cartoon accurate that way for me. And it does kind of hover because you got these pieces here, so when you put it down it looks like it's hovering. It's pretty neat. I like that it has that look. And overall, very good vehicle mode. And for comparison, here he is with my trusted Blue Streak, and it looks pretty good. I mean, the scale is not really a thing here, but if you want to know, he's a little bit taller than Blue Streak, a little bit wider and longer, so pretty much every dimension is a little bit bigger. Who's to say what the scale's supposed to be, but to me it looks fine. He's not too big, he's not too small. It seems like an appropriate vehicle. You can't really put anybody in here because there's nowhere to put the legs, so I'm not even going to attempt to put like Daniel or anybody in there, but you could put like a smaller figure in there if you wanted to. Now another thing you can do is you can mount the weapons on the bottom here. There's a little slot right there and you can put these in. So here's the first gun and that just tabs right in. And that looks okay. I don't know, it's not amazing. I haven't seen any other places to tab it in, but here's the other one. So you basically lift up this tab here. Oops. And then you put that in there. And this one kind of rests on it, so I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. I don't really like that, but there's that. And then the Target Master, I believe, if you fold the handle down, you can put that in there. Let's see. Yep, you can do that too. But again, that looks really silly and just not great. And the Target Master falls apart, so that's not very good. The best looking one is probably this one. But that's really it for the vehicle mode. There's no other features here. These panels here are you put into place by hand, and they do tend to like move around, so I like to just push them up and leave them like that. Those are the kind of the rear exhaust or whatever it is. So final thoughts wise on this guy, the vehicle mode really does look good. The robot mode really looks good. They both remind me of the cartoon. It's very solid once you get it there in both modes. It feels like a premium toy, and it looks like a premium toy, and it's got some paint. The problem is the transformation. The transformation is too frustrating, especially this. It basically breaks. Now, Pig for Life, in his review, it did actually break. He broke this side piece. It basically stressed until it broke. Knowing that, didn't put too much stress on it, but it has started cracking. So a few more transformations like this, it'll probably break. And I'm not willing to break it. So that's why I'm not going to transform it again. But that's why I can't recommend this. Because if you can't transform something back and forth without worrying about it completely breaking, then it's not a transformer, right? It's more of an action figure. So if you're going to keep this in robot mode, or you're going to keep it in vehicle mode, which I don't think anybody would do, then maybe, okay, I can understand getting this figure. But no one's going to do that. I mean, unless you're just a kind of collector that likes to just keep it in robot mode, I can't really recommend this for you. You'd probably be better off with the Unique Toys version of Blurr, because you can transform it and have fun with it. But if you don't care about transformation and you just like putting your robots in display, then this is probably a really good figure. The other thing is the Target Master. If you care about the Target Masters, you're not going to like this because the leg just pops right off. In fact, the arms and the legs pop off. It looks fine, it's got some paint on the face, but in general, in terms of quality, it's just not there. It's one of the worst ones I've gotten so far. And FansToys, generally speaking, makes pretty good Target Masters. With this one, for whatever reason, the quality on it just seems poor. Worse than the previous one that we got. Because that one, at least, I could transform it. This one, I can't really transform without it coming apart. So that's really it, guys. Thanks for watching. Sorry I couldn't show you the transformation today, but I do have links in the description below, so you can watch either Pig for Life's video or T-Man's video on transformation. But we will be doing another video probably next week for the Flame Toys Megatron. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.